What's up, guys? You can check out our podcast, articles, or our full proxy gallery, all at our brand new website, www.itresolvesmtg.com. Hey, welcome back to another episode of It Resolves. My name is Kevin.
My name is Will. Thank you for tuning in, watching, or listening, doing it however you're doing it, where you're doing it. And as always, this episode is brought to you by you, the patrons.
Look at that. We do have a few new ones that we're going to list off and do our normal thank you to all of you. So, are you ready?
So ready.
All right. George.
The deluxe.
Kelly.
The expensive.
Ethan.
The extravagant.
Max.
The fancy.
Adam.
The gorgeous.
Logan.
The grand.
Robert.
The lavish.
Rob.
The lush.
Ben.
The opulent.
Orion.
The ostentatious.
Carter.
The plush.
And Terry.
The posh.
Oh, what was the word?
Luxurious.
Luxurious.
Yes.
Good word.
That's how I think of all you patrons. You're luxurious people.
You guys are fantastic
Thank you,
individuals.
and welcome and
Seriously,
whatnot.
thank you guys so much for supporting what we do. We could not do a lot of what we're doing now if it wasn't for all of you guys. And we're very excited to say we hit our 100th patron just the other day as of recording this. So thank you guys so much. We certainly appreciate it. Patreon rewards for November have been announced, by the way. I believe it's Counterspell, Stoneforge Mystic, and Brea.
Okay.
So
nice.
if you're interested in picking up any of those, you do have all through November to sign up. Just a heads up. So you can do that anytime you'd like. And you will be qualified to win to get the proxies based on your tier. So just a heads up there. But again, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Truly we do.
Yes.
We are going to be talking about Pioneer today.
Surprise, surprise.
I know. It's been like the hot topic, obviously. It's a new format.
Naturally.
It's really exciting. I do have a lot of high hopes, I will say.
Okay.
I have a few worries, but we'll go into all that stuff as we go through.
Cool. Let's do it.
Before that, we have our random card of the day.
Oh, can't wait.
In 3, 2, 1. Morbid Curiosity.
Okay.
It's a sorcery from Kaladesh for 1 and 2 black.
Pioneer legal.
Oh, it's Pioneer legal. Look at that. As an additional cost to cast it, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Draw cards equal to the converted mana cost of the sacrificed permanent.
Okay.
I mean, I
don't hate it.
it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't think you really play it that much in Constructed.
No.
Just like...
It's worth noting, Kaladesh was a very artifact-centric set, so anybody that doesn't know, that was kind of the whole theme of the set. And so the idea here is, like, if you have a vehicle, which is, those are artifacts, there's tons of artifacts in that set, so you're going to have a wealth of options for sacrificing to this, is the idea. Even still, I don't, like, super love it. I mean, it's a good draw spell, but, like...
Right.
You know.
Like, where do you play it is my big question.
I think the only thing I could think is, like, maybe limited, but, like, I don't know that I want to sacrifice a heavy-hitting permanent. Because the idea is the more powerful the thing that you're sacrificing, the more cards you get, which is great.
Yeah.
But you're still sacrificing your most powerful thing.
This works a lot better if instead of CMC, it's, like, power or toughness.
Right, because you could buff it.
Right, that's the thing.
You could sack just, like, a servo.
Yeah.
And, like, buff it with, like, some cheap, whatever.
Definitely.
+3/+2 or something, and then all of a sudden you get 4 cards. Like, that's good.
I'm sure it would also work well if you had a creature that said something like if or when this creature dies,
like
that
sack outlet stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean,
and that
that's
would be
definitely
good.
Fair.
That's a great synergy. And I'm not remembering from Kaladesh if there's any like legal tasty card.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not legal, limited card that benefits from dying.
Well, it obviously didn't make a huge impact, but I'm sure there are a few. Otherwise, we would remember it. Is my point. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying.
But
that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's a draw spell.
I did used to play. There's a creature, Agent of Bolus, that I did play in M13 with my Exalted deck.
Oh yeah.
You swing in, make a big dummy, real powerful, and then just sack it and draw a bunch of cards.
Dude, so
it's nice.
Speaking of sacking stuff, Fling comes to mind.
Heck yes.
This is a very short side story. I promise I won't be tangenting for too long. But we're still early in the episode. I did start playing a Jund aggro list recently. I think I texted you and Justin about it. And it is such a fun deck list. It's
Yeah.
so fun. So the original list did run Fling.
Okay.
I intentionally took it out
Okay.
because I was trying to play test Once Upon a Time.
Okay.
And so I literally, that's the only card I changed, but basically it let
okay.
you like pull out anything that you needed at any given time. So you
Sure.
could really, really get like a good handle on the board in the early game.
Okay.
Obviously, if you were outpowered, it was bad. But like
Sure.
Dreadhorde Arcanist with Fling is so good, is my point. All of this to say that that's a really good combo.
What does it
because
do? I don't remember
Dreadhorde
that card.
Arcanist, it's a 1/1 with haste for 1 black, 1 red.
It's from Spark.
It is. And when it is destroyed or when it's sent to the graveyard, it deals
Yeah.
damage equal to its power to any target.
Okay.
And so what you do is you like get a few early attacks in, make it like get it to 3/3, get it to 4/4,
So
get wherever.
it gets counters when it deals damage?
When it deals damage,
Okay.
yes. Sorry, I forgot. I don't think I mentioned that.
Is it to player or anything?
To player.
Okay.
So you do have to get in with the player, but you've got like a wealth of removal to like kind of deal with the board.
Okay.
As long as you can 1-for-1 trade everything, you're fine.
Sure. Okay.
And so you swing in, you deal damage to the opponent, you get it a few counters in, whatever over the course of like the first 2-3 turns, and then you swing in, and then regardless of what they do, like if you land it, it gets the counter, and then end of turn you fling it, it deals
Sure.
double the damage.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
So technically you're tripling up on damage like in one turn almost.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's so fun.
Yeah.
But Once Upon a Time is the trade out card for me because I just wanted to see how it would function.
And what do you think?
I've had very good success. I will say it's gotten a lot harder because we're starting from the bottom now. We're here. And that we were at like bronze rank 3 or something terrible. But in like half an hour
Yeah.
with just that deck, I won like 8 games in a row.
Ayo.
And so, granted, again, at that level, it's probably a lot easier, and it was best of
It
ones,
is.
so aggro
Yeah.
decks are king. But
That's
like,
fair.
it was really easy to level up with it. And I love that deck. It's just a fun deck. I'm not
Welcome-
usually an aggro
Welcome
player.
to Red, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just a fun deck.
I did build another like Jund value deck, but
Okay.
it wasn't as good. Anyway, off topic. Pioneer.
Oh, welcome. Welcome to Pioneer,
What
everybody.
a format, guys.
I have so much I could say about Pioneer. Kevin, what
Tell
are your...
us what it is first.
Sure. Pioneer's our brand new baby.
Hey, little
Freshly
baby.
swaddled with... No one's going to get that
No
joke.
one's gonna get that joke.
No
You
one
get it.
I do. And it means a lot to me.
That's good.
And other friends of ours would
This
get
is
it.
for us. It's not for them.
Ah, you're right. Don't go away, but go away. But come back. But hey, I just wanted to watch you leave. So this, it's our brand new non-rotating format, freshly swaddled with Wizards approval,
Yeah.
which means that it's going to get tournament support. We already know this.
Yeah.
The schedule is out,
Yeah,
which
it
is
is.
fantastic.
It's good. It's getting tournament support.
Oh, it's amazing! It's getting tournament support. When
We all know how it doesn't go.
well, right. Well, Modern was getting less and less.
Yeah. Yeah.
More now that we have our like the Mythic schedule was out, when there was
Right.
like less mystery around what the big Magic circuit would be.
Right.
Now that it's Mythic, we understand. But the PTQs and stuff for Modern, we're kind of up in the air for a bit, but we're out of that. All that to say,
yeah.
so we have the first few months of I don't think it's the whole year, right?
No, I don't believe so.
Of Pioneer stuff out,
Yep.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So it goes from Return to Ravnica block on,
Yes, and only including standard sets.
Yes, excuse
So-
me. Anything standard legal. So
Anything
nothing
that
Modern
was
Masters.
standard legal because I've seen a lot of, you and I were joking about this, but we've seen a lot of deck lists that have like
Right.
cards that may have been printed after Return to Ravnica, but they're clearly not legal.
Yeah, it's like Modern Master stuff that
or like I saw
yeah.
engineered explosives from it,
Right.
and I'm just like, that's not
it's
a
not
thing.
in.
Like,
Yeah, Modern Horizons also not in. No,
No.
supplemental sets. No,
No.
like, conspiracy, nothing like
just
that.
the standard stuff,
Right.
but still a lot of opportunity for some awesome decks, I think.
Yeah, we Kevin and I each wrote our own articles about Pioneer,
We
kind
did
of introing
on our
it
new website,
on our new website.
itresolvesmtg.com.
Whoa!
Check it out now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was gonna offer something for them. if they checked it out, but it's really just more.
You can see it if you check it out. It's really cool.
Use your eyeballs to look at it.
You could read the
You
article.
could read the
even.
words and watch the videos that are on there. That's cool. You should do that.
You should, man. It's a good time. I don't know if you're a man, but
Man and lady.
Man,
Ladies
lady.
and gents.
Anyway, yeah. We did write our own articles. You're right.
We did.
You had way more in depth than I did.
I have been all up in Pioneer's business for the last few days.
Heyo.
And yeah, it's great.
It looks fun. It looks like a lot of fun. Like, I've been looking around at a few deck lists.
Okay.
And I did a video on like 5 cards that I personally am interested to brew with.
Let's go into that because I have a list of there's probably like 35 cards here
Good Lord.
that are
There are a lot of awesome ones. But
Right.
okay, so my top 5.
Yeah.
I say top 5. It technically wasn't in order, and there's a butt ton of other options
Yeah.
that are really, really fun. These are just 5 that I really am interested in.
Yeah.
The first one's Jeskai Ascendancy. A lot
Sure.
of people are already brewing with that. That's
Yep.
no surprise. As you mentioned, there's a few different lists going around
you have
for
a
that
few
one.
ways to go infinite with that.
Yeah,
now,
and I
with
think
the
it's kind of
legality.
interesting. But I do love that deck. I loved it in Modern. I think it was just a bit slow in Modern. Usually a turn or two late to the party, unfortunately. And so I'm thinking Pioneer might be a good place for it.
Yeah,
Just
I would
because
agree.
I would expect it's a much slower format than Modern. So
I believe. Yeah,
that just makes
maybe
sense.
we'll see.
I think it
for
would
now.
be, but we'll see.
It should be.
Yes. Deathrite Shaman was one that we talked
Good.
about, and I'm a little like people are like back and forth on this one because the banning of the fetch lands obviously
Is big, right?
is big. That is huge because that's a lot of where Deathrite got its power, was being able to reliably ramp
Definitely.
with your
Right.
fetch lands. And I do think that that's a hit, but I still think there are a lot of options that Deathrite goes into. And you
For
mentioned
sure.
something that I don't, as a sideboard option, Deathrite makes a lot of sense as well
Definitely.
because it
100%.
exiles stuff from the graveyard.
100%.
And I do like it there. I think there are some opportunities to main deck it in a few decks. Mostly like delve focused decks because
Sure.
we do still have Gurmag Angler and Tassiger legal. As well as a lot of other like mill spells because of all the support lately.
Yeah, how it makes sense to play with the yard.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there. So I don't know, but I do kind of I landed on liking Deathrite Shaman and Pioneer.
I think I think I do like it more in the sideboard just because it does not represent a better curve,
Sure.
no ramp. But I will say Deathrite does have it still has like early game interactions with Smuggler's Copter, which is interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
So for decks like a mid-range deck, not necessarily Abzan, but some
Right.
black-green thing,
Yeah.
you can still run out a Smuggler's Copter, which is a card you can slot in anywhere.
Yeah.
But the problem with it is you question what its crew is, obviously.
Right.
But with your Deathrite, you just have a few different options to use those cards in a turn, which is nice.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can, like, I don't know, if there's no good opportunity to attack, you can just
Right.
eat something, gain some life, or
Exactly.
or ping them for 2. So
Yeah.
Deathrite is still
Gives you flexibility.
definitely, and it's always on. If a card is banned in other formats, you have to think about if it's going to be banned here.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% if Deathrite does get banned.
I don't think it will get banned
because
personally.
because it's not as good. Right?
Yeah, it's
not
just
as powerful.
not.
We
I mean,
gotta-
it's certainly not bad, but I don't think it's anywhere near the power level that we saw elsewhere.
And it was played in so many decks when it was banned.
Oh God, yes.
So
And again, being able to play it for either black or green gives you a little bit
Right,
extra flexibility
definitely.
there.
That
so
helps
like,
a lot. Sure.
it makes sense that you're going to see it in a lot of different decks. And
Absolutely.
a very silly idea that I was toying around with.
Yeah.
So a very key part of Deathrite Shaman is the land that you eat does
Okay.
not have to be in your graveyard.
Right. None of the cards do.
None of the cards do, but
Right.
in particular the land. And so I was like, what if we got like a mill deck going on? Like an actual mill deck. Not self-mill, milling the opponent.
Right. Naturally.
And I was looking at other options, and it's not good. Like, it's very
Okay.
clearly not going to be good. But
Okay.
we do have a few, like, cheap mill spells and things like
Sure.
that. And, like, I don't know. I might play around with it just to see. We
Well,
also have,
you
like,
should.
the Gargoyle right now, which serves the purpose of Jace's Phantasm.
Right. A beater for the deck. Yeah.
Exactly. It fills that role.
Yeah.
Again, a bit slower, but it's still quite good.
Sure.
And it actually has a little bit more utility in that it does a little bit of milling itself. So
Right.
I think it's, it's an interesting little little idea.
This is the season to figure that stuff
Oh,
out.
that's it.
You know what I mean?
This is the fun part. When a new format is announced, we get to play around with these ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
Mystic Forge was a huge one, actually, I think. And I didn't realize this until I kind of started researching cards that were legal.
Yeah.
So there are, at minimum that I can think of, 4 X casting cost artifacts. So, or colorless spells, I should say, because Endless One. Walking Ballista, you can technically play for 0 if you needed to.
True.
Hangerback Walker, same thing, and then the new Snake, the multicolor protection for multicolor
Yeah,
thing or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that is, one, they scale, obviously. And so if you play them from the top of your deck with Mystic Forge, they can scale to whatever mana curve or whatever point in the curve that you're at right now.
Okay.
And so there's a little bit of just like flexibility in when you can play them.
Okay.
On top of that, you can legally, and I didn't realize this, again, I looked this up because I was like, that's a really interesting interaction. You can technically play them for 0.
Sure.
Because they do not say, because a lot of previous cards have said, like, you can't play this for 0 or it can't be cast for 0 in old school. But these you can.
Okay.
And so if you're like digging for an answer to a particular board state or something like that, and you have a bunch of X casting costs with Mystic Forge, and you they're on top of your deck, you just cast it for 0, and it's
You're just kind of
free
sifting.
cantrip.
You're just sifting through.
Yeah, I mean, it's a free cantrip.
Sure.
Which I think is really interesting. And again, that's just a bit of utility, so I don't know that that's good enough by any means to make a deck. But like, we already have Karn and Mystic Forge as a very, very good combo. And just being able to pull stuff out of your sideboard is really, really nice. And so, and we saw Mystic Forge restricted, I believe, in Vintage recently because it was just so powerful.
And Karn, right? Or was it just Mystic Forge?
I think it was just Mystic Forge.
Okay.
Granted, Vintage, very different environment. You've got Moxen, you've got a lot of other stuff
there.
I think, which does put it over the top. And I don't think it will be over the top here, but I do think that that's an interesting card to kind of play around with.
Sure.
For sure.
Karn especially too. 4-mana Karn, I think, is... I mean, there's
such a powerful card.
Yeah, and it's not as good, obviously, in other formats. We got to stop comparing it to the other formats real quick.
Well, no,
maybe.
It's okay. I mean, it's important to compare to other formats.
It is, but, I mean, the other formats don't touch Pioneer. You know what I'm saying? So, for Pioneer, though... all I see Karn really grabbing right now is Aetherworks Marvel, but I mean, we'll see.
There are a few like interesting interactions that I've seen people brewing with where they're kind of trying to pull off the standard deck that Karn does, where because there was a it wasn't Tron, but it was built like a Tron deck with Karn as the card that you would pull stuff from your sideboard, obviously. But there's the like Godfarer's Monument thing, which kind of doesn't lock your opponent out, but it cheapens your stuff and makes their stuff harder to cast.
Right.
There's like Ugin, there's stuff like that that can cheapen all of your stuff. And that in tandem, in particular with Mystic Forge and Karn, to be able to pull whenever you need it, is just such a good like interaction that you can start really doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, it's setup time. That's the hard part. So there's that one.
Makes sense.
Dreadhorde Arcanist was one that I'm actually a little bit interested in. I don't think this is going to be a good card. I went ahead and said this in the video.
Yeah.
I don't think long term this is going to be something that pans out. But I think in the early stages of the format, a lot of people are going combo, like combo builds and stuff like that. That lends itself to a very good aggro environment and a very good control environment, to be honest, because you work on the key pieces. But aggro is usually a good place to start, in my opinion, when something like this happens. And Dreadhorde Arcanist is just a really interesting card because it gives you the recursion of a lot of very cheap value spells. Sure. And that was part of that Jund list that I'm playing as well. I had some good luck with it, and I feel like it's actually a really interesting take on it in Pioneer, where you've got more and more options than you do obviously in Standard, just because of the breadth of cards that you've got. And so there's more answers to it because there's things like Fatal Push,
right?
And that's really what keeps it out of Modern, in my opinion. Is one, there are some good spells to pull back with it, but two, there's a lot of stuff that just deals with it, like Bolt. It kills it right on the spot. Fatal Push, Path to Exile, stuff like that. We do still have Fatal Push, but that's kind of the big one. I mean, we still have Burn, we still have cards that'll deal with it, but they're a bit slower. And so my thought process is, at least in the beginning, it might be a fun little brew card just to kind of play around with.
Yeah,
and
it's
see.
interesting.
Because you do have more options to pull back with it, with cheap spells and things like that.
Sure. And that if you're playing a blue-red deck, that's kind of what you want to look for.
Yeah,
is how many spells you're casting, how much fun stuff. I didn't think about Dreadhorde Arcanist.
I love that card. I think it's a fun one. It's making a huge amount of waves in Legacy right now.
That's good.
And then the last one is a very obvious one, Dig Through Time.
Yep.
Because that card is just stupid and it's gonna get banned.
Yep. Glad you ended with that.
Yep.
So
did that on purpose.
Yep. The biggest things I think about for Pioneer right now are cards that are getting banned. And I did make a list on my article. Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise are not on there. But I think it still goes without saying. Like,
what other cards were on your list out of curiosity?
It was the Arclight Phoenix.
You think it gets banned? That's interesting.
Yeah, so I do think it gets banned. I'm forgetting what my specific arguments for it were. Hold on.
No, you're fine. I think.
Okay, no, that was the one I was hesitant on.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't 100% that Arclight Phoenix does get banned. However,
there's a lot of stuff for it, but
there's a lot of stuff for it. I came across a list in my trudgings through the internet of all the lists.
Good word.
I don't know if it's a word, but we're gonna go
now.
with it. And dude, this deck looks nasty.
Really?
Because my worry with Arclight for it working was that there wasn't a good discard outlet.
Yeah.
But then Lava Axe came up, and I thought, well,
that was a card that I looked at with Dreadhorde Arcanist also.
Yeah.
Because it only costs 1.
It only costs 1 to do 5 damage, which is pretty good. Towards the mid game, if you're casting that and then flopping 2 Phoenixes out there, that seems pretty good. I'm gonna have to look for that list because it is.
I'd be interested to know.
It is actually just gross.
Yeah, that seems like a really mean thing to do, but I'm in.
So, and yeah, the other question is how like what's its digging? What's drawing you cards?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we had obviously Faithless Looting in Modern, which is what made it so good. But you have a lot of different options. The Royal Scions draws you cards, discards cards. Chart of Course draws cards, discards cards.
Yep.
Strategic Planning, you get to search things and then stick it into the yard. Is it Charm? Draws, discards.
I forget that Is It Charm is in.
Yep. Yeah, it gets pretty gross.
Seems pretty good.
Fiery Temper.
Yeah.
3 damage for 3. Madness. You can discard stuff to that.
Yeah.
That seems pretty good. The list goes on, and I mean, it's not that dissimilar to the Modern deck,
which is
pretty
gross,
good.
So.
Well, was pretty good.
Was pretty good.
It does play weirder spells, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Like you wouldn't ever play I just freaking said it. I've already forgotten it. The strategic planning, you wouldn't really ever play that anywhere else.
No, of course not.
It's a sorcery at that. So what are you doing? But
you can play Quicken, by the way.
That's true.
Which is a 1-mana cantrip.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Not to interrupt you, I'm very sorry to do that.
No, I forgot about Quicken.
When I was looking at Jeskai Ascendancy, because like the backbone of that deck is just cheap cantrips.
Right.
Like, that's a lot of what you need.
Forgot about Quicken.
Quicken is technically a cantrip.
Dang.
And it doesn't. I don't believe target. So like you don't have to even use its ability. It just draws you a card. I think it's the next sorcery spell you would play this turn.
That is
at instant speed, but like you don't.
That's right.
Actually have to play anything.
That's right.
So like, so that's a cantrip. There's the card from I don't remember if it was Battle for Zendikar or Oath of the Gatewatch, but it makes a creature unblockable and draws you a card for 1 blue. Slip Through Space or something like that.
It was
Slip Through Time. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Slip Through Space. You're right. You're right.
And then there's also Opt
Battle for Zendikar
as 1-mana cantrips.
Those are good.
Those are good 1-mana cantrips.
Nice.
In a Jeskai Ascendancy deck, they're amazing.
That's solid. Yeah, I didn't think of those.
I was just looking to see what cards we had when I was looking at that list.
But like, there's cheap burn out there.
There is.
Harness Lightning comes to mind too.
Yep.
Like, there's a bunch of good things that you can play that make the Arclight decks like tick. That make them still good.
Oh, absolutely.
Thing in the Ice you put in as well. Obviously,
I love Thing in the. I'm
right?
so stoked.
Like the deck, I'm not Again, I'm not 100% convinced it does get
Sure.
banned, but it's definitely being scrutinized. I think you have to.
Oh, of course.
The cards had enough impact on other formats that it's got to.
No, naturally.
So that was on there. Felidar Guardian, obviously.
Yeah, copycat combos in.
Right. Now, my point to that, though, is that we have so many sweepers.
There's a lot of sweepers, and I also want to point out mana bases are not super easy in this.
I'm not sold on that.
Are you not?
So Fabled Passage.
Fabled Passage gets you basics. So
Correct.
there is that.
It's fixing, but mana Confluence.
I forgot about Mana Confluence.
Right.
Yeah.
All the Kaladesh lands that are,
That's fair.
I don't know what we're calling them.
Are they the fast lands or something?
Yeah, they come in tapped unless you have a thing.
Yeah, it's something like that.
So what I will say is mana fixing isn't it's not as fast in that some of these lands come in tapped. Mana Confluence, you have to
pay a life.
Right. Fable Passage can come in tapped unless you have 4 more lands.
Right.
So like the fixing isn't quick.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So you may I think and this is I think from their own admission kind of what they're hoping to do anyway, but like I think their point of doing this is to avoid the like quick fixes where and I think more prominently what we're gonna see is a lot of people who run these multicolor decks, 3-5 color decks, 4 or 5 color decks, whatever. Every once in a while they're gonna stall out because of lands.
Right.
And like that's gonna happen a lot more often than we've ever seen.
Well, and I think it should. You have to you have to punish people if they get
I'm
these
with that. Like I'm fine with it.
Definitely.
I will say one thing, not to jump back to the ban list
You're
stuff,
fine.
but one thing that I'm kind of unhappy about is the way they're... Because, look, we all know, like, Dig Through Time, it's going to get banned. Like, maybe not banned, but at least restricted. Like, there's a lot of cards like that that we know there's going to be action on.
Sure.
What kind of sucks is they didn't take action on it initially. And so the issue that I'm having with that is, like, for people who've been playing for a while... We know what these cards are. It's fine.
Sure.
To a newer player, they're like, well, this card's crazy. They're going to get like really excited about this card. They're going to get that card to play in Pioneer, and then it's going to get banned. And it's like, that's a bit of a like, come on. Like,
no, I hear you.
To like an educated player, it's not that big of a deal because we all know like certain things are going to happen.
And stuff.
Like, we know that. But like, not everybody does. And I feel like it's important to note that. I don't know. That just seems kind of...
Yeah, I think there's enough buzz around those cards in particular that...
I hope.
Yeah, I hope like fresh people to the format kind of understand.
Right.
But, I mean, let's just hypothetically, they haven't banned it yet. Crazy world, maybe they don't.
I mean, maybe not.
I'm not convinced that that's the truth.
I was going to say, I'm not either.
But it is possible.
Sure.
You have to entertain the thought. I don't know.
That's fair.
So we'll see.
I do like that they banned the fetches off the bat.
I do too. Fine. I think it clues us into what they kind of want the format to be. Like you said, not fast fixing. They're gonna punish some decks for playing 3 or 4 colors. Which is good. It allows for a little more top deck import, I'll say. It's important what you draw.
That's why Mystic Forge is so good.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, we found any card that lets you search for answers, search your deck for things, or even look at the top few, like our
Courser,
very
stuff
good.
Like that.
Absolutely.
I also think the mana base thing is also what plays really well into a deck like Mystic Forge, where it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, you don't.
I will say one interaction that came up when I was looking into that though is Devoid cards. Which do technically have color, but they are colorless.
But you have to have color mana to cast them.
And so, like, I think that's an interesting interaction because that still gives you access to colors if you want them, but you don't necessarily need them in that deck.
Yeah.
I don't know what cards necessarily. I didn't go into specifics on what cards might be worth playing, but I do think there might be a couple that would be kind of interesting to see.
There are a few Devoid colors that maybe.
Or Devoid card, Drowner of Hope, I think, is a good one, but.
Sure.
It's a bit slow. Anyway.
Sure.
Long story.
Other cards that might get banned. I'm thinking Aetherworks, obviously.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, we have to see how quick it gets, how oppressive it gets. But Kolaghan's Command is legal.
Yes.
So blowing up artifacts is very possible. Now you do have to
Colors.
be in black red to do so with that card in
Yeah.
particular.
Yeah.
But now it's a lot easier to sideboard against Aetherworks.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
And we live in a world where Thoughtseize is legal, so we can do stuff like,
Thoughtseize is legal?
Yeah.
Theros, you're right.
Yeah, baby.
Maybe Jun's a thing.
I haven't found a Jun list I love.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, I mean, you got Thoughtseize, you got Kolaghan's Command, you got
it doesn't
Ooze,
play
you got
with
Fatal Push.
It doesn't play like modern Jund because you're missing your Liliana.
Right. We have the Last Hope, but we don't have Veil.
No, you don't. I'm thinking in terms of what Jund does in modern.
No, I
you know
understand what you're saying. Yeah,
like it doesn't. You don't deny any resources with Pioneer Jund, really.
Right. That's fair.
Now Grixis is kind of the
counter to that.
Yeah, like that's the avenue I go down with Thought Erasure.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that kind of resource denial tempo mid game kind of deck is leaning towards Grixis colors, but that's like conjecture,
right?
But because I just don't know what green does in Pioneer Jund.
Yeah, I don't know. It serves to, again, it gives. If Deathrite was going to be played, that could be there. Scavenging Ooze for that kind of interaction is also quite good because that's a main deckable option, but
definitely
it's not like. I mean, Scavenging Ooze is great. It's more of like in modern Jund, it's usually like a 1 or 2 of main deck. Like it's not a huge part of the game plan because it's such a long-term game plan.
Sure.
But I think in this environment, maybe it's found its match. I don't know, but you could definitely find reasonable options elsewhere, and you don't have to be playing green to play Deathrite anyway.
True. True. It can go in Grixis.
Important things
that's
for
the
that.
thing. People are thinking that Thoughtseize could get banned though. But yeah, I don't like that argument. It checks the entire format.
Yeah. It's the force of will of Pioneer.
A bit, yeah. A bit. And you need cards like that. You need cards like Thoughtseize, Phyrexian Revoker, Pithing Needle.
Yeah.
Things that you force your opponent to play around.
Sure.
Just to give more a competitive edge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then Oko is a curious one to me.
I heard some speculation that was going to get banned as well, but
so I mean Oko right now is very powerful.
Oh yeah.
With the advent of field going out.
Oh yeah.
Like food is the next big thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that Oko's getting banned out of Pioneer anytime soon.
I don't think so.
Standard, that's another question.
I'm
not 100%. I don't know how long it lives in Standard. We'll see.
Yeah.
Your 3-mana walkers. We missed the boat on Oko so bad. You remember?
We thought it was garbage.
Well, we didn't like understand how good constructed food could be.
Yeah. Well, and part
Simic
of it,
food really, but
I will say the one thing we pointed out, which is a testament to how good Oko is that it's a high loyalty for only 3 mana.
Oh yeah,
like it's very high. So like in a standard environment, the chances of it living for a long time are like
pretty good.
Always there, regardless of where you're playing it, basically.
That's
so
true.
It's like we pointed that out, which I think is important, but obviously we were 100% wrong.
Oh yeah,
like there's no doubt we said Oko was going to be bad.
Right. Oh yeah, we did.
And
and like the deck he's in is really solid.
Oh, it's so
just
good.
very good.
That Gilded Goose.
I know.
Dude, Gilded Goose is like on point right now. Also, in Limited, really off topic, but in Limited, Gilded Goose is insane. It keeps you alive no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
Spit out food, eat food. Spit out food, eat food. You're never gonna die.
I mean, that's
and it's such a slow draft format anyway. Like it's a very slow format.
It's Eldraine Limited kind of throwing me for a loop, but
it's a bit tough for me. I gotta be honest, but it's a fun one. I like it, but
I do too.
It's definitely.
I also
different.
maybe just got shitty packs, but
and you're
it was so bad.
I found I tend to go like 4 games out of the like 6 or 7 that it is before I kind of start getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna lose. Like, I just have a rough time with it, and I think it's because it's such a slower format. My natural like instinct when I'm drafting initially a first set is like you go aggro because it's safe.
Sure.
And I have had some success with aggro decks, but like if you don't beat them in the first wave, you're done. Like they shut that down.
I ran out of gas pretty quick in one of my games.
Out. Like it happens a lot.
I will say
the mill deck is fun. I will say
that is fun. You're right. I kind of got wedged in between two strategies. One of my games, or one of my drafts, I was like blue red, but I didn't get like enough of the draw two cards to really make the draw two thing work.
Did you get the enchantments? What's it called? Oh, that's like a backbone for that deck. That's a good card for that deck.
I got a lot of the creatures, but none of the good ones.
Yeah.
I got one of the rogues that gets counters when you draw cards. I forget his name. Anyway, but it's a confusing. I know a few cards to look out for and grab if I see them, and I'm trying to like piece together. Anyway,
sorry, we keep getting off topic.
It's fine. Eldraine Standard is interesting.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, the Boogeyman seems to be Oko, but I don't think it gets banned in Pioneer.
No, I don't think so either.
Anyway,
I'm not there with that.
Okay, so I just have a bunch of cards in front of me. A list of cards.
All right.
I want to get your thoughts on a few of them.
Okay.
And just see what you're thinking. Collected Company. So
I think very good.
Very, very good. This is a card to me that is going to be indicative of Wizards' opinion or like desires for Pioneer.
Yeah.
Because we talk about Modern being a turn 4 format all the time.
Yep.
Turn 4 is so important. But with the exclusion of fetch lands, with the exclusion of really reliable mana fixing like that, how good is turn 4 really in Pioneer? That's kind of my question.
Yeah.
It seems to me, though, things like Collected Company, then them printing Once Upon a Time.
Right.
I'm not saying you don't need stuff like Coco.
Mm-hmm.
Is it outclassed by Quicker? Is it outclassed by Once Upon a Time for Pioneer?
I don't think so.
You play both?
I would play both. I mean,
do you think one over the other?
I would actually be more stoked on Coco, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So Once Upon a Time does a really interesting thing. It's a very interesting card, but it plays like the Ancient Stirrings role in Modern a little bit, where it searches, top 5 cards or whatever, and you get to pick something. That's great. Coco puts stuff straight on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's true.
And at instant speed. Now, Once Upon a Time is instant speed, but obviously isn't putting it on the battlefield.
Sure.
It's a more expensive Ancient Stirrings, unless it's the first spell you played during the game. And so it's a really odd card to evaluate in my mind.
Sure.
But I would prefer, I think, Coco, because I'm putting them straight on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of lists that are playing Coco, and I understand why. I think it's just super good.
Yeah.
Bant seems like a really good home for it, but also there was a green Stompy deck that I saw, and I was super in for it.
Yeah, you can get a lot of good stuff in green Stompy.
There's a lot of good stuff right now.
Definitely.
So I like both. I have no, qualms on either.
Gotcha.
I don't think it gets banned either, by the way. I don't think Coco's good enough to get banned.
That I'm on the fence. I'll say I don't think it is either, but I wouldn't be surprised. Just depending. I mean, green is in a good spot for Pioneer right now.
It is, yeah.
So
it certainly is,
I just wonder, because we don't have like as much removal,
We don't. That's certainly an issue.
But I don't know.
I think we have enough. But anyway,
probably. Okay. So then, Kyrnos is cool.
Yeah.
Right?
I posted that on our Instagram.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Because I was like, I wonder if he's good.
So with blue-red being a little bit slower than its modern friend, I think that it's not out of the realm of question that you see your game's going a little longer, you slam a Kyrnos, and that just gives you...
It gives you inevitability.
Yeah, that's like the end of the game. I mean, you just
this will beat you if you don't do anything.
Absolutely.
So,
like that's your win con right there.
I'm kind of in for it. I don't know if it's quite fast enough.
Right.
But again, it's like we don't know how fast this format's going to be yet.
Right.
Like that's the reality.
Yeah.
And I do think because of cards like Coco, you're pushing the format to a lower number of turns. But Coco doesn't win you the game right off the bat. Like it gets you a lot of value, but it doesn't win you the game right off the bat. And I think that's important to note. Like it's a very powerful card. I don't want to diminish that, but that's not winning you the game on turn 4 by any means.
You do have to play around it for sure. Like it makes it keeps any deck running green. If they have 4 mana open, like
you have to be cautious of that.
Yes, you have to hold the gates up.
Like that's exactly it.
You don't want them to untap with a Galta or well, they couldn't, excuse me, but
no, I know what you mean.
But something
disgusting,
really good, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, honestly, after resolving a Coco, you could play.
I was gonna. I mean, you
know,
can afterwards
depending.
for sure.
But it.
I like Keranos though. Is the
Yeah.
takeaway. I don't know if it's going to be fast enough, but I do like the idea of playing with it in the beginning.
Right. It needs a deck, I think, too.
Yeah.
So like a blue-red tempo deck that isn't Is It Phoenix in my mind.
Yeah.
Where you're not casting a million even though that it'd be fine.
Yeah.
It'd be okay.
Yeah.
I just think that deck is trying too many things.
You need to be dealing with the opponent a little more, I think.
Smuggler's Copter is being like questioned about banning.
Yeah.
I think it will go in a lot of decks early on.
Yeah.
Just because we know it's aggressive and good. Mardu vehicles will get played.
I almost think it plays a very crucial role because it goes into every deck. Like it's going to be the only reason I think it should get banned is if it's.
So you do think it should be?
No, I don't actually. So my thing is, like you said, the thing about Smuggler's Copter is it fits into any deck.
Yeah.
And it allows you to loot on a somewhat reliably based, you know.
Oh, you can Thing in the Ice to Smuggler's Copter because it's power or toughness.
Yeah.
So then you can.
And
pitch
like that's my worry
Arclights.
with Smuggler's Copter is that it finds a deck where it's way too good.
Yeah.
Like a blue-red deck, most likely.
Perhaps.
There's Vryn's Prodigy, Jace. There's a lot of like
man.
little abilities like that go really well with the Smuggler's Copter.
Yeah, you're
and so
right.
my worry is it gets too good because of that.
That's a good point.
But the important thing about it is it does go into any deck and it allows you to do a little bit of card draw no matter what deck you're in. And I think that's really. I won't. I don't want to overstate its importance, but I think that is really important for a format like this, especially a new one, because it gives you a little bit of card selection no matter what.
Sure.
And like it just gives you that safety net, I think, in any deck. It's just a matter of if it's too good in that one deck.
Yeah, I think it has the potential to.
Oh,
as well.
I absolutely think it does.
And honestly, Mono Red and Burn are kind of
yeah.
Like they are positioned to be good too. I mean, we have Bomat Courier back.
Swift Spear.
Yeah, in the same
Swift
deck.
Spear, somebody mentioned they might. I don't think it gets banned, but
Swift Spear I don't think is the issue.
I don't think it's
deck.
too good by any means.
No.
It's good, but Eidolon.
Eidolon, I don't know if you banned Eidolon either.
No, you don't ban Eidolon. I don't think it's as good in this format. It's a slower. My assumption is it's going to be a slower format, and so you're going to see more.
You're not
like,
going to have
higher CMC cards. So like
potentially,
I think it's more.
Although,
it's a great sideboard option.
You do have all the commands.
You do absolutely.
You know,
there's some like cheap burn and stuff like that, which it will hit, but like. I think a lot of the decks, like a Coco deck, for instance, there are going to be creatures that it's going to ping against, but like.
Well, for the most part, yeah, it wouldn't touch them.
Not going to touch like half the deck.
Yeah.
So I don't know that Eidolon's as good as.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as good in this format as it is in Modern.
Sure.
There's just no way in my mind.
So going forward, another question I have is how important is the graveyard in this format?
You know more about this, I think, than I do.
Okay.
But I do think it is going to be very important. I think there are a lot of. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that and deck lists that I've seen. There's been a lot of delve stuff.
Yeah.
Especially on the onset.
Sure.
For a number of reasons.
Sure.
Although some of them are not what you would think. One of them was, what was it, like Soul Flare? Or whatever.
No, that's on
that card
on the
is
list.
real interesting.
Yeah, I think that Soul Flare. Okay. So in Standards Past, specifically the Aetherworks Marvel ban, they banned it for a couple of reasons, but one is that it is no fun to play against.
Yeah.
It is not fun to watch your opponent Goldfish and then slam it on Eldrazi. It's just not.
Yeah.
Sorry. The Soul Flare deck does just that.
Yeah.
Except their Soul Flare also has Hexproof, whatever it needs. I don't think Soul Flare stays in the format very long.
You don't think so?
It's not a good card. Like it requires so much to set up, but the deck is
pretty solid.
Stupid. And once it's doing its thing, it's very hard to stop. Yeah. Now, that also leads me to the counterpoint of that.
Yeah.
There's enough graveyard hate.
Well, like
that
you
might
mentioned,
not be
there's
a problem.
ley lines, there's scavenging ooze, there's death right. There are a lot of options for
Rest in
graveyard.
Peace
Rest in Peace you mentioned as well. You're right.
So
there is a lot of stuff that we can use to deal with the graveyard, but I do think the graveyard's going to be of very high importance. In this
I mean,
format.
I'm bringing a deck.
There's no doubt
now,
about it.
You know that.
Oh, I know.
Works with a graveyard, baby.
Oh, I know, baby.
We'll see if it's terrible. It is. Anyway, so there's a lot of things that lend, or a lot of cards that like lend the graveyard strategy to success. Seder Wayfinder is one of my favorites. Grizzly Salvage is in.
I love Grizzly Salvage.
Right?
I really want a Reanimator deck.
What are your targets right now?
That's my thing, and that's the hard part.
And
is
what
I don't
spells
think it's good
reanimate
enough.
them? No,
I don't think it is. But we got a few Reanimator cards in. Was it War? I don't know, but we got one where it pulls back like 3 creatures of 3 different CMCs.
Oh
1, 2, and 3.
Macabre of
Madness,
or
something like that. It's some black card. The point is,
I'm so close to knowing its name.
the point is, like, I've wanted that card to be good. This is just me like being a tool, but I just want that card to be good. And so my hope is that somebody's like, oh, I'll brew with this, and then turns out that it's like kind of good enough to be played, and then I'm like, all right, I'm in. Like that's all the motivation I need.
Interesting.
So somebody brew a deck with it, please.
I can't find it.
It's
not.
I just think that'd be a fun card. And because we've got some graveyard stuff like Grizzly Salvage and Seder Wayfinder and stuff, like you've got tools to like fuel it.
Yeah.
It's just what are the targets? And that is the big thing is I don't think there are great targets.
True.
I'm sure there are some, and because this is a big card pool, to be fair, like we've got a lot of stuff. I just don't know.
Big. It's very big. So I don't have a ton of other like I wonder kind of questions going forward because honestly, we're at a point where you can play everything, and there's not like a fight for the best answer. Abrupt Decay versus Assassin's Trophy comes to mind, but
I think in a format where fixing is a little bit tougher, Assassin's Trophy is going to be a little bit worse because because you want the fixing. So like if somebody plays an Assassin's Trophy against you, that gives you the opportunity, man. Like that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a bunch of cards here we could talk about. They might come up. It doesn't matter. Some decks I'm excited to play though.
Go for it.
I talked about it in my article, but Mono Blue Devotion.
Yes.
I'm looking at you.
Yes, I am in. I'm so in.
This Mono Blue has won surprise 2 top 8s in the past.
Yeah.
Well, one was a shock. I don't think the other one was. It won a Theros block PTQ once, and then Yellow Hat took it to the top 8 in a recent tournament. 2 different decks at the time, but now they don't have to be.
Exactly.
And they get just stupid. And since Nykthos is a thing, Devotion decks are they're just on board again.
Yep.
Looks like meat's back on the table, boys.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So a Mono Blue, I think, is...
Do you think it's the best of the Devotion decks?
I do.
Black Devotion is pretty solid.
But only because of Gary.
Yeah, but we have Gary. So
Yes. But in Mono Blue, you do get access to counters, bounces, this and that. You get a lot more interaction and control in the game in Mono Blue, which is what fair. It's what I look for a kind of Eternal format to be great. It's got to have a couple of things. It's got to be really good in one of the 3 areas. It's got to Goldfish to success really well.
Yeah.
Right? Or it's got to fuddle with the game a lot of counters, a lot of draw, bounce
it all up.
Or it's got to slam a lot of dudes that do a bunch of damage.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find a deck that does some of those well together.
Yeah, you normally kind of have to pick one.
Right. But Mono Blue Devotion, to me, does the fuddling and the slamming the things.
Yeah.
Which I love.
I love that.
I mean, you can hit him with a 5/5 Thassa.
Yeah.
That's unblockable.
Yeah.
Or you can put out your Master Wave and send out a bunch
Flood the board.
Is it Master Waves or is it...
Yeah,
who makes the tokens? The Elementals? Is it? Yeah, you have a lot. You have Merfolk Trickster now, which taps stuff down.
Yep.
And then Tempest Djinn, which is another beater. This deck looks nasty.
Yeah.
It's, dare I say it, huge. This deck has a lot of power packed in it.
It does have a lot of power packed in it. There's no doubt.
No doubt. You have 2 different spells right now, creatures that you can sack as counters. You got that.
Oh, yeah.
The little siren and the siren, actually, okay, I guess 3. There's a siren, there's a spirit, and there's...
a bird.
Yeah. Oh, the Azorius thing.
Azorius bird guy.
Yeah. Isn't it like Mana Leak on a bird?
Not as good.
Is that
it's pay 1 or something like that. It's
okay.
Force Spike on a bird.
Yeah. But there's Yes, it's just a nasty deck.
Yeah.
So that God, what were some of my others? Abzan Midrange was like on my mind.
Yeah, that came to mind very quickly for
Yeah.
me because of Siege Rhino and stuff like that.
mhm,
And there's a lot of good stuff for it, and a lot of people are playing with it right now, which it does seem solid.
Yeah.
I wonder long term what the like best quote unquote mid range deck is going to end up being.
It's not Abzan. I hate
I
to
don't
say
think
it.
it's Abzan either.
I don't think it because like it's big things other decks get just faster and more like like more consistently.
Yeah.
Questing Beast is huge, and Questing Beast just kills Rhino.
Oh god, yeah.
You know, like it. So
Questing Beast is like super solid.
That's
by
why
the
it's
way.
a $40 card. Yeah.
Is it a $40 card right now?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Glad I opened one the other day.
Yeah.
Like,
Oko's almost at 60. So
wow.
Yeah.
Seriously?
yeah,
Dang.
yeah, it's nuts.
Wow.
Mana Confluence jumped up like $20. It's $32.
I mean, yeah.
now. So
There,
nuts.
one thing that speaking on value end of things, one thing that I like about this format is it gives value to a lot of these cards that really did not have a ton of value.
Yeah.
We'll say. And it's obviously not going to be every single card, but there are going to be like some big players that will come out of this
Sure.
format that we don't see in other formats. So there's going to
Definitely.
be some sleeper stuff that comes out, which I'm stoked about. I think where the value, again, the ban list is a bit of a questionable area for me, where
Sure.
they're like, here's the value, we're going to ban it. And it's like, it's kind of shitty.
yeah, I will say though that
But it's value. Like, it's added value to these cards. And because something that I think I mentioned in my article was that, these are the sets that were printed in a very high quantity.
yeah.
These were over-opened sets for the most part. A lot of people already have most of these, like, at the very least, the common, uncommon cards.
Sure,
And,
sure.
a handful of rares and things
a
like
bunch
that.
of like
They've got, a lot of people have the tools already to play in this format. They may
You're
be
right.
missing a card or two, but it's not like Modern or Legacy or something like that, where you're starting from scratch.
the buying price is pretty low.
Right. And so it's good because there's enough sets there that I think it's going to be more interesting than something like Frontier.
Definitely.
Definitely. I think it's adding value to people's collections, which is great. Just long term for collectors, that's awesome. It does bridge the gap a little bit with what they were saying in their release article, how Modern kind of has been fleshed out.
Definitely.
There are certainly cards that get added to Modern every once in a while, but it's usually like one, maybe two per set. It's nothing crazy.
You're exactly right.
This is an opportunity for this to be the next Modern, quote unquote, where we have a period of time now where we're still learning the format. We're still going to be getting new cards in the format.
Right.
And they probably will still be good enough, these new cards, to be played on a regular basis in this new format. And so, like, there's a lot of excitement there for me.
I'm with you 110%.
So I said it before. My only worry, I just hope we don't end up seeing like, all right, this is like standard showdown. This is the last 5-10 years of standard. Let's go. Like, that's my only worry.
But that is, I mean, honestly, that is what is going to happen.
It's gonna happen in the beginning. I'm saying long term. What I don't want is for this to just be past standard decks, and I don't think it will be. That's just my worry long term, because I think that's a lot of what killed Frontier, was that it was kind of just the previous standard decks that we saw, and everybody was like kind of bored.
Well, Frontier also didn't get the exposure that Pioneer will.
It didn't. You're right.
Pioneer will have a lot of more people trying to make decks for it, all that stuff. It's got a bigger card pool.
Much bigger.
Wizard support as well. So dev teams will consider Pioneer when making new sets. That's the hope. But I mean, Standard has a much bigger impact on Pioneer, especially the decks like, what we're talking about, the Copycat combo.
Yeah.
I think partially, like, Copycat's still legal in Modern, right? Technically. But it's just not good enough for Modern. It's not fast
it's like
enough.
a turn late.
So, a format like Pioneer is going to see those things that are kind of that are in the wings that are, like aren't good enough for these other formats, but are too good for Standard. So Pioneer kind of gets that bucket. That's not to say that's what I want it to be.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like all the broken cards that get banned come to Pioneer and wreck house. We do right now get to see kind of who's the top dog among them.
Yeah.
Because honestly,
it's going to be what it ends up in the beginning. There's no doubt. And I'm okay with that, because I do think that that gives us a starting point.
Sure.
And people are changing up the list. It's not like it's just this one for one standard list, but I just hope long term it doesn't stay that way.
We'll see. I
I'd
think
love to see a new deck come out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know. But I'm just saying, like, I want to avoid long term seeing like Abzan mid range win every tournament and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
know.
Like, that's
I know
just,
what you mean.
That's just kind of boring.
I know what you mean, but there will be some like spikes of power in this format.
Oh yeah.
Like you think when Modern came out and Infect went crazy, and then a few standard sessions rolled around, you got more cards, but Infect was still the best.
Yeah.
And then when Infect wasn't, it was oh god. Artifacts give me power.
Affinity.
Thank you. You know.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
And we were in a good place with Modern for a long time where I remember and this is when like you and I started, I think, like hanging out on a regular basis, but like we were watching Modern tournaments and there was always like, we knew what the decks most of the time were going to be, but every once in a while you get a sleeper deck and a lot of times the power level would shift from one deck to the next.
Like
8-rack
was in there a few times.
Speaking of 8-rack,
mono
black discard with
in Pioneer?
Davril. I'm in. Let's do it.
All right. Yeah, why not? Fuck it. Sure.
It seems really bad, but I just want to do it.
Just try it. Who knows what could work?
Oh, that's the thing. Like it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So regardless though, I do have high hopes for Pioneer.
I do too.
I feel optimistic about it.
Yep. I have no like negative things to say about Pioneer. I worry a little bit for Modern, but like
I don't. I worry it's going to get stale.
Yeah, that's one of my concerns.
But like that's about it. Modern's a very good format in my opinion, and a lot of people have paid a lot in for Modern, and that's going to keep
not going
things
anywhere.
No, I don't think Modern's going anywhere.
Sure.
I do worry about it getting a little bit stale.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
And I think that's just natural progression. Sure. The decks have been fleshed out, like for the most part. Not to say there aren't change-ups, but you know.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think I have anything else to say about Pioneer. We're kicking around what decks could be good, what could be banned. That's all kind of what Magic's doing right now.
Yeah, it's a fun time to be involved in Magic.
It really is. It's exciting. I look forward to some Pioneer stuff.
Me too.
We're going to try to, well, I say we, but we're going to try to play some Pioneer effectively in the coming days. So,
that's the plan.
Cool stuff.
So if you guys have any thoughts on Pioneer, I will say go ahead and leave them in the comment section. I actually am really interested to see what everybody's thinking because I've heard kind of mixed stuff a little bit.
Definitely.
So what you guys are thinking is actually important to
the
us.
arena purists are very upset.
I will say that's one strike against Pioneer. I get why, but I think it's a little bit of like a bad call because
sure,
arena's like the place to play right now.
Yeah,
for a lot of people, it's a barrier for entry. To not have it on arena, I think. Because it's the cheapest way to play. It's an easiest way to play. It's such a effective tool. Why not use it?
It makes me think that there's different dev teams. Honestly,
maybe
like this is a paper only format, and it really does conflict with historic in a way. Yeah. That historic just is less. Yeah. And I've heard people talk about how easy it would be to add cards to Arena because of a language parser or something. Have you come across that
hard. Stuff? It wouldn't be difficult to add cards. The thing is, like,
what do you do? Give them to every player, or
well, so something that was brought up to me. I talked to I don't remember who it was. Might have been Justin actually. Yeah. Red Zone Gaming Justin, by the way. Shout out to him.
Big shout outs.
He listens, but I don't know if he's going to get to this point. But he, I believe it was him. He was like, why don't they just do like, okay, so you know they do legacy cube drafts on MTGO where you draft it, but you do not keep the cards.
Right.
Why don't they do that on Arena? And like, they're able to do like at least drafting and some like sealed stuff. They can do it that way, where you don't have to worry about the collection aspect of it. You still can get gems from playing and things like that.
You get gems, maybe some standard stuff.
Yeah, but it's all just phantom. It's all phantom. And then that way you don't have to worry about valuing a collection and all that kind of crap. You just have to be able to make it playable. You add the cards in and you're done. And I like that idea. I think people might get a little annoyed that you don't get to keep them in your collection, but who cares?
I think if
people
they-
do Phantom all the time.
Yeah, I think if they like didn't know that on the onset, definitely. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I don't know.
they do that on MTGO.
I don't know. Arena just seems like it's gonna need. It's Magic has to prove to me that they value it still.
Yeah.
I know that they do because it's a money grab for them. Well,
They
that's
support
kinda,
it like crazy
right,
on stream days
right.
and stuff, man.
But they need to like add something to it, you know?
And it needs a little bit more. Historic, I don't think was the solution, but I think they might have been hoping it was.
It could be, but it's just
kind of like, meh.
I just think they did it wrong. But what do I know?
Regardless, we do have our Kraken packs. These are always sponsored by Grand Slam Comics and Collectibles, and I'll just go ahead and say they are truly a great group of people that have helped us a lot. So thank you to them. Please check their link in the description if you're interested. I got a terrible rare.
I got a great one, but it's like a brewy rare at best. Fires of Invention.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Actually, Spinning Wheel might be my pick. So my rare is the Witch Claw Talisman, which just not a favorite card of mine, if I'm going to be honest. I got the Trebuchet, I got the Hypnotic Sprite, I got the Fierce Witch Stalker, which I do think is a good card. But I also got the Spinning Wheel. It's a little bit of an underwhelming first pick, but I'm kind of in. I like it. I think I'd take it.
Yeah, I don't really have like a bomb or anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude, that card.
Yeah, I also got Slaying Fire though.
Sure.
So I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a long format though. That's why I would lean towards that.
I know. I think Archon of Absolution is good because I like white in Eldraine Limited a lot.
Very, very good.
We'll see. All right.
So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you to the patrons. Thank you to Grand Slam. We certainly appreciate. We've had a lot of amazing support, really.
Definitely.
And we've, to be candid, we had our strategic meeting, and I don't want to give any numbers or anything, but we certainly surpassed all of our goals this year, except
to you.
Twitter, which we super care about. No,
he says that through the pain.
Yeah. No, we've honestly met and very far exceeded our goals, and so that's all thanks to you guys. So we certainly appreciate it. We do have information coming a little bit later on, probably towards the end of the year, with Justin from Red Zone Gaming. We're really stoked. I'll just go ahead and say we've been kind of behind the scenes working with him on a few things, and kind of bringing him in as part of It Resolves a little bit. And it's been a really great experience. He's a truly awesome person, and we're really, really happy to have him doing some work with us.
We are very fortunate to have connected with some folks across
absolutely, and
with the power of the internet.
I was gonna say that happened through like Instagram, I think, a long time ago, and it fleshed out into something more than that. So that's really awesome, truly special, and a great example of how great the community can be.
Definitely,
if we're gonna go to life lesson time.
Definitely.
So
thanks, guys.
Huge thank you to Justin. Huge thank you to all of you again for supporting. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Man, I'm just excited to brew some freaking decks.
Me too, man.
I think I got so pumped I even put a swear in the article I wrote.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I'm in.
I
think I read that swear. I think because I skimmed a good bit of it because you asked me to look through it, and I was like,
it's at the very end. So
yeah.
You know.
Man, that's awesome.
I'm so ready to play some fucking Magic, guys.
I'm really excited, by the way, just where It Resolves and Magic is.
Yeah, dude.
All in all, like, these are going great. I gotta be honest.
Yeah,
like,
man.
We're at a fun time in Magic right now.
Yes, we are.
We're at a fun time with It Resolves. We've got a lot of new stuff that's been coming out. Like, it's just been a great time.
2020, that's our year, baby.
2020.
We're gonna take over the world.
Yeah.
At least the Magic world.
The Magic world. We've had good luck with the community, I will say, because
we really have.
There's some pleasurable people in there.
Interesting.
No, but anyway, I think that's it. I don't really have anything else I want to talk about.
No.
But thank you guys again, and I guess we'll go ahead and end this episode. My name is Kevin.
My name's Will.
This has been It Resolves.
Resolving. I got nothing at this point.